Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate broker Sue Hall of Century 21 Elm Realtors based out of Park Ridge, Illinois. Sue has been in real estate for the past 32 years, and 30 of those have been with Century 21 Elm in Park Ridge. She has been a consistent top producer, and in 2015 she finished number one in the state of Illinois for Century 21. She has also been awarded the Chicago Magazine-sponsored 5-Star Agent Award since its inception in 2011. As a former teacher, she still finds real estate after 32 years to be an exciting profession. All right, with all that said, Sue, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks for inviting me here.
And Sue, if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
Probably more of a stumble. I used to be a teacher, and I taught for about 7 years, and there was just a lot of changes when I first started teaching at the time and job shortages. So a good friend of mine had been in real estate, and he said, you might want to try it. And I said, I remember when I was a kid traveling with my grandfather to open houses on Sunday as an activity, and I used to hate it. And I thought, no, I don't think so. And he said, well, why don't you just give it a try one summer before you go back to school in September? And that's what I did. I walked into a real estate company in Park Ridge. At the time, I was living in Chicago. Park Ridge is a suburb that backs up to Chicago. So I walked in there, and it looked like a lot of successful people sitting at nice desks. And I just walked in and said I wanted to be in real estate. And they said, come on in and train me. And I took the real estate class in probably about a month. And I was able to make a couple of sales right away prior to going back to school in September. And that probably equaled what I was making at the time. So at that moment, I gave up teaching and went into real estate.
Excellent. And can you talk a little bit about what personal attributes, traits, or qualities you think have most contributed to the success that you've had in real estate?
Well, I think teaching helps a lot. And I know a lot of former teachers in the real estate business. The ability to multitask. That's a part and parcel of a teacher's job. You might have a lesson plan in front of you, but suddenly, somebody in the back of the room faints, or somebody else is, hitting somebody with a ruler, or something happens, and you're constantly distracted and kind of taken off the track. So I kind of sometimes equate that with real estate. I might start my day out thinking I have a couple of appointments early, nothing late, and by the end of the day I have things that have filled in and are going all day. So I think you really have to be very, very flexible and be able to multitask to do it properly.
And Sue, I think whenever somebody builds a successful business or a career, sometimes the path to get there is filled with bumps in the road along the way. Can you talk a little bit about some of the adversities or trials that you've had to overcome in order to achieve your goals?
Well, I think that I started out in a town that I didn't live in. I had lived in the city, and I somehow was shopping in Park Ridge and just kind of fell into looking at a real estate office there. And it was just dumb luck. I didn't realize that I didn't know the streets, I didn't know the schools, I didn't know anything about the town. And so when I started there were a lot of obstacles. I had to learn a whole new community. And probably in hindsight, that wasn't the smartest thing at the time to do, but I was young, and this was my 32nd year, so I was young enough to be able to kind of just roll with it. And I didn't have children at the time. I didn't have anything holding me back from working a lot of hours at the beginning in order to kind of achieve those goals and try to learn as much as I could about a community. But I made myself available to everyone. After I got my license, I went to some of the top agents in the office, and I said, whenever you go out on a presentation, can I come with you? Whenever you are presenting an offer, in those days we used to present offers, face-to-face, I'd like to just come with and observe. So probably the very first year I did lots of observation and kind of found my own style. There were some people that maybe were more direct, some were more laid back, and I sort of was able to develop my own style in presenting and working. I also had, although it wasn't an obstacle because I didn't know anything, I was also much younger than anyone else in the business at that time. The town, probably the median age in those days for real estate agents was probably like 55 in this community. So I was in my late 20s, so I was kind of, I kind of stood out in that respect. And that was good for me because I had the energy to do a lot of running around, but it was bad because I had to win over a lot of people that had been in the business for a long time and weren't used to that kind of change.
And Sue, what kept you going despite these obstacles? Why didn't you give up? What was your driving force?
Well, number one, I enjoyed the business. I mean, I liked working with people. The whole idea of doing the best job that I could do for someone in finding a house, and I mean, which is one of the biggest things most people do in their lives. I really, really enjoyed the dealing with people one-on-one. Secondly, I liked the flexibility of the job. I liked to be able to, although I worked probably more weekends than everybody, I liked just being able to plan my day sometimes differently than when I had a regular 9-to-5 job. And of course, the compensation, the monetary compensation was there. I started making probably more money than I could have ever made teaching in those years. And, it was appealing to me. And I also liked starting a project and finishing it and not having things kind of left out there. I kind of like working through something through the whole process and having it completely finished and starting something new. So it just was a good fit for me all the way around for my personality and, just for the career move and the drive that I had at the time. It was just a perfect fit for me, real estate.
And Sue, I guess looking forward, what's your vision for your business and your career over the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, my business has been growing rapidly, especially over the past 3 or 4 years. I think since the recession and we've kind of made a little bit of a comeback, at least our market is getting stronger, I feel that there's less real estate agents in the business, and the ones that are standing after going through the recession period are the ones that are doing the majority of the business now. And I think because of my longevity in the town, again, my 32nd year, I feel that people recognize me and more people are contacting me. So I feel that in the next 3 to 5 years, with some new technologies, with television, with the videos that I'm doing, some of the websites that I'm involved in, I just feel like my business can, just grow by leaps and bounds. But I think the thing is we have to change. You have to go with the technology. I mean, when I started in the business, the contract had a piece of carbon paper underneath. Now we're emails, texts, Twitter, blogs. I mean, I think you have to move with the changing market. And because of that and some assistant help that I have that's very, very good, I just feel that the next 3 to 5 years, my business could possibly double.
And I guess kind of on top of that, what do you feel is the best way that you market yourself as a real estate professional so that you can have that continual growth?
Well, probably the ability to buy into a lot of websites that are very popular. And, Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, Trulia, I've kind of entrenched myself buying out the zip codes, things like that. So I'm the agent that comes up when most people are doing their searches. And I've gone into some video work where I can have my listings videoed and put on the computer. We're on Comcast in the real estate section of Park Ridge, on demand on television. I can showcase some of my listings there and open myself up to a whole new set of buyers. And it's been very successful. Plus, I've done regular marketing tasks in the town I'm in, via shopping carts, ads in the paper, just putting myself out there and making myself as visible as possible.
And Sue, I think sometimes when the general public looks at real estate agents, they don't fully understand the value that they provide from both the buyer and the seller standpoint. What do you think the biggest misconception or myth people have about working with a real estate agent?
Well, I think they think it's just easy to sell a house, and in some cases it is easy. You could put a sign out and the house can sell right away, but that's only half of what goes on. There's so many other parts to a puzzle with attorneys, inspections, documenting things, following up on, any kind of problems on disclosures. I mean, right now we are, we face problems with flooding, radon, asbestos, mold. I mean, these are things that happen almost daily in my business. I mean, I have to find out, I have to know who to call for remediation. I have to know, what to do on certain inspection issues. And a lot of times it's just keeping all the people involved in the transaction kind of calm and, talking in, not to where people's tempers are rising. I mean, I do a lot of psychological work all day, just talking to people, trying to keep everybody's tempers under control, and just trying to make sure that everybody realizes that, we're all working towards a common goal, and that's to get the house closed. So a lot of times buyers and sellers don't always get along. And, you have to kind of play interference there so that you can keep the deal moving smoothly and we don't get egos involved and suddenly it blows up over nothing. So selling the house is one thing, but keeping it together and taking it all the way to the closing is quite another thing.
And Sue, let's say you get a call from a family member or a friend and they're in another state and they want to sell their home. Now, obviously, with your experience and probably with the connections, you could easily look up an agent and do a referral. But from a general advice standpoint, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs?
Well, I definitely think it has to be somebody local. I think with the inception of the Internet and real estate, people now list properties all over. I mean, 50 miles, 100 miles from where they're at. I don't think that that's the best use of the real estate agent. I think to find somebody local, someone in your direct area that does a lot of business, and again, listing, working with buyers, but it has to be somebody local who understands the community, the schools, any other problems, and just things like, where's the library, what kind of theaters do you have, what kind of health clubs are available, what are the concerts in the park, what is that about? I mean, there's so many parts of the community. So getting somebody that's local and understands the community and the area and the values for that matter. I mean, I'm in a northwest suburb of Chicago, but if somebody came from 100 miles away, they may not understand the value of this community because they have a different pricing structure in their community for the same kind of house. So getting a local professional is probably my best advice to those people.
And Sue, obviously based out of Park Ridge, Illinois, or the northwest Chicago suburbs, and if somebody's looking for real estate services or an agent in that general area, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
Well, they can contact me. I'm at Century 21 Elm Realtors in Park Ridge. The number is 847-692-5522. My direct line is 847-917-3188. And they can also look up my bio on Google, of course.
Excellent. Well, Sue, obviously want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come here today and share all your professional real estate experience. And if you want to contact Sue, obviously you can give her a call or you can do a search like you said. Below this interview, we'll also have a link so that you can connect with her and any other information that she has so you can see how she can help you with your real estate needs. So with that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.